Okay, welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We're really glad you could join us. We're about to jump into another really interesting stack of source material today.
Yeah, this time we've got a great collection. It's all real-world conversations, little snapshots of everyday life, actually.
Exactly, things you shared with us. And our mission, well, it's to unpack these moments, dig out the key insights, figure out what they tell us about navigating daily life.
How we connect with people.
Yeah, and the language we use, the living, breathing language. Oh, and before we really dive in, if you find this sort of thing valuable, uncovering these insights with us, please do think about hitting that subscribe button. It really does help us keep bringing these deep dives to you.
It does, and it's a fascinating collection this time because it's not about abstract ideas, is it? It gets right into the practical stuff.
The nuts and bolts.
Exactly. The nuts and bolts of how we actually talk to each other when we're facing, common things. We'll look at how people tackle problems like feeling totally overwhelmed at work.
Or physical things like back pain.
Yeah, or just, sudden stuff like getting a flat tire. Mm-hmm. And we'll look at the different ways we communicate depending on who we're talking to, right? Yeah. And the situation. And we'll also unpack some of those colorful, everyday phrases that pop up.
Yeah, I love those. And these are situations, these moments, they feel so familiar. We've all been there, or we can definitely picture it.
Totally.
That feeling of just staring at a mountain of work, or the simple frustration of a jar that just won't open.
Yeah.
Or, the harder stuff, like a difficult conversation with someone close to you. It's all in here. Super relatable.
It really is.
So let's start with that first theme, maybe. How these sources show people actually dealing with problems.
Good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, problem solving, it's like a constant thread, isn't it? We've got Lucas, for example, feeling completely buried by this big report.
Right, and he uses that phrase, he says he feels like he's drowning in work.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Such a vivid metaphor.
It really captures that overwhelm, doesn't it? Just the task feels too big, impossible to handle.
And the advice he gets is immediately practical.
Yeah. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Break it down.
That idiom, don't bite off more than you can chew, it's perfect, isn't it? It uses a really physical image, trying to stuff too much food in your mouth, basically.
Right.
To represent taking on too much, mentally or practically. And the advice that comes next, breaking it down like finishing one section at a time, that's the classic strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the antidote to feeling like you're drowning.
It reduces the cognitive load. So instead of this one giant, scary task, you've got a series of smaller things you can actually tick off.
It's so simple, but it works. Turns that mountain into little hills you can climb one by one. And it's not just about a report, is it? It's a strategy you can use for, any big project or just feeling swamped.
Absolutely.
And the sources even remind him to take breaks, which is key, right? Recognizing that, mental stamina is part of solving the problem too.
Definitely. And we also see physical problems sparking communication.
Yeah.
Like the person with the back pain.
Oh, yeah.
We've tried, the basic stuff, medicine, but the conversation moves pretty quickly to finding better solutions. Heating pads, rest, avoiding heavy lifting.
Right, and then the crucial step.
Crucially, yeah, suggesting seeing a professional like a doctor or a physical therapist if it doesn't get better. It shows that kind of progression from trying things yourself to seeking expert help.
What strikes me about these examples, though, is how often problem solving involves other people. It's rarely shown as something you do completely alone.
That's a really good point.
Look at the flat tire situation. Jane and Mike. Jane's stuck. She's not sure what to do.
And Mike's response is immediate, isn't it? And collaborative. First, what a bummer. Just acknowledging the frustration.
Yeah, empathy for
Then
sure.
checking the practical need. Do you have a spare tire and a jack? And when he finds out she doesn't really know how to do it,
He just offers.
direct offer. I can help you change it. And her acceptance and his confirmation, count on me, it just highlights that willingness, both to ask for help and to give it.
It really makes you think, how basic is that impulse to help someone when you see them struggling with something practical like that? Mike doesn't even hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you wonder about the other side, too. Why is it sometimes so hard for us to ask for help?
That's true.
Because these sources seem to show kind of implicitly that asking whether it's for help with a tire or finding your glasses or fixing a crashed computer, it's often the quickest way to actually solve the thing.
Oh, the computer crash dialogue. That one's painful. That is a particularly modern kind of agony, isn't it?
Oh. Ugh, yes, I was right in the middle of my report. Anyone who's ever lost unsaved work just feels that in their bones, the panic.
You can almost feel it. And then the classic awful question.
Yeah.
Did you save recently?
And the answer? Not recently. Oof. The unsaved work is gone.
Devastating.
It's a harsh lesson, for sure. But the source shows resilience, too, right? The advice shifts pretty quick to preventing it next time, save often, use cloud storage, all that.
Yeah, practical future-proofing.
But the immediate reaction is just determination, back to square one. All right, let's get this done.
And that phrase, back to square one, it captures it perfectly, doesn't it? Starting over from the very beginning.
Yeah. It shows that even after a big setback, the drive to solve the problem, to finish the task, it's still there.
And it's not always huge problems either. The sources are full of, smaller, everyday annoyances. A light bulb needs changing.
The trash is overflowing.
Getting locked out of the house. These little things also get us talking and working together.
My absolute favorite has got to be the stuck jar.
Yeah.
That dialogue is just perfect.
Yes.
It captures that shared struggle, the almost comical effort involved. Trying tapping it, running it under hot water.
Needing something for a better grip, like a rubber glove.
It's like a tiny little play about practical problem solving.
And the relief and the mutual appreciation when it finally opens. Got it. Finally. You're amazing.
And the reply, sometimes it just takes a bit of teamwork.
It's so true. These little moments, whether it's a stuck jar or changing a light bulb, they're not just about the task itself.
No, they reinforce that connection, don't they? That mutual reliance and the simple satisfaction of overcoming even a small challenge together.
So if we kind of zoom out from these specific examples, this problem-solving theme, it really highlights how much we rely on each other. Not just for the practical fix, but for the emotional support, too.
Makes it feel less daunting.
Yeah, exactly. It really underscores how central human interaction is to just getting through the difficulties of daily life. Absolutely. And building on that, how we help each other solve things through interaction. Let's maybe shift focus a bit to how the way we talk changes.
Oh, yeah, drastically.
Depending on who we're talking to and the situation. The sources give us some really clear contrast there.
You see it straight away, don't you? Compare that formal phone call to green tech solutions versus just the casual chats between friends. The language, the structure, the whole tone. Completely different world.
Totally different registers. And the professional call, it's all very structured, isn't it? Identifying the company. Good afternoon, this is Green Tech Solutions.
Politeness markers everywhere. How can I help you?
Identifying yourself clearly. This is name from company.
Yeah.
Stating your purpose directly, but, politely. Taking a message, checking availability, scheduling a follow-up. It's all very formal and efficient.
Right. It follows the rules, the social expectations for that context.
Exactly. The language is precise, often more complete sentences, standard greetings. Now, compare that to a friend just seeing Lucas and saying, "Hey, Lucas, you look stressed. Is everything okay?"
So different. Informal, direct, uses slang like, "Hey, stressed," and it jumps straight into a personal observation, a concern.
And it's amazing how we just switch between these modes all day long without really thinking about it. With friends, the conversation's much more relaxed, right? Covering everyday stuff like making lunch plans.
Or complaining about minor frustrations like the friend who forgot his phone charger again.
He's done it again. You can hear the exasperation. Or discussing movies. What are you in the mood for? Planning things like going shopping. It's just easy.
And even in those casual chats, there's still negotiation going on, isn't there? Like understanding social dynamics, the friends saying, you drive a hard bargain when they're sorting out lunch versus coffee.
Yeah, that idiom again, drive a hard bargain. It means you're good at negotiating to get what you want.
Right.
And the person saying it is kind of acknowledging that, maybe impressed, maybe slightly outplayed, but it's friendly. It shows how even when we're just chatting informally, we use this kind of colorful language to describe what's happening between us.
But the sources also go deeper, don't they, into much more challenging personal conversations.
Definitely.
Like the friend reaching out to Emma because she's been quiet, withdrawn, not answering calls.
Yeah.
And finding out she's feeling really overwhelmed.
That really highlights the importance of proactive communication and using the language of care. The friend doesn't just wait. They express concern directly. What happened? Is everything okay?
And offers that unconditional support. Remember, you're not alone in this. We'll get through whatever it is together. That kind of empathetic response, it's so crucial for making it safe for someone to actually open up.
It really is. And sometimes communication has to be about, well, difficult truths. Like Sarah, considering the job abroad, but she hasn't told her boyfriend, Mike. She thinks she needs space first.
Right, avoidance.
And her friend Emily gently but firmly pushes her. Talk to John. Let him in. He really cares about you. That kind of advice, urging direct, vulnerable communication, it's tough.
So tough. But necessary in close relationships, right? Avoiding the hard talks, like the source suggests, it just makes things worse later, usually.
Almost always.
Yeah.
We also see that kind of raw vulnerability in the conversation between Anna and John, the one in the rain. Anna feels defined by her past mistakes, saying she's made too many. And John's response is just key for supportive communication.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes, Anna, but that doesn't define who we are.
Such a powerful statement, isn't it? Accepting the person while separating them from their actions.
Yeah, it validates the feeling without agreeing that it defines her. And again, that encouragement to talk to John, let him in.
Yeah.
Emphasizing vulnerability, trusting people when you're struggling.
Family dynamics show up, too, through dialogue. Ethan talking to Anna about her messy room. It's not just about tidiness, is it?
No, he reads more into it. He interprets the mess as, like, a symptom. He says he's worried because she's been going through a lot lately. It shows how family communication can have these hidden layers where one surface issue is really about a deeper concern.
And maybe the most emotionally powerful one is the conversation between the mother and child. They're adapting to a new, smaller home after some kind of hardship.
Oh, that was really moving.
The child is grieving, missing the old house, missing their father, expressing sadness, worry about all the huge changes.
And the mother's response is just, wow. A masterclass in empathetic strengths, really. She validates the feelings, I know, sweetheart, but then pivots gently towards resilience, adaptation.
But sometimes life throws challenges at us. We'll adapt.
And crucially, she grounds their security in their relationship. But we have each other, and that's what matters most. It's such a strong example of using language to process loss, build resilience, and find hope in just being together, making the new place feel like a new beginning.
It really is.
So all these different conversations, they really illustrate this incredible range of human connection, don't they? And how flexible our communication is. We shift from the quick, practical exchange
To casual chat.
to navigating conflict, offering really deep emotional support, processing huge life changes together. Our language just adapts to fit the relationship and the need of that specific moment.
And speaking of the richness of language, that's another really fun, insightful thread running through all these sources. The use of, and sometimes the explanation of, everyday English phrases and idioms.
They're like linguistic shortcuts, aren't they?
Yeah.
We've already mentioned a few. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Perfect for that overwhelmed feeling.
Totally. And you drive a hard bargain, which we saw is that kind of lighthearted way to acknowledge someone's negotiating skills.
Or even simpler ones, like the reassurance that you can't go wrong with pizza, meaning it's always a safe bet, a good choice.
Always reliable.
The coffee shop chat gave us top-notch for coffee that's really, really good, like the best.
And describing the caramel latte as out of this world, meaning amazing.
And that moment where the listener asks, like, from space.
That's gold.
Yeah.
It shows perfectly how, taking things literally can lead to funny misunderstandings.
But also how we often learn these phrases and reinforce their meaning right there in the conversation through context and explanation.
Exactly. Like describing the two friends as being as different as night and day. The source explains it right there. One is spontaneous and full of energy. The other is calm and thoughtful.
That idiom uses such a fundamental universal contrast, day versus night, to capture personality differences so succinctly. It packs so much meaning into just a few words.
It really does. And going back to the computer crash having to start over was perfectly summed up by back to square one, meaning you have to begin again right from the start.
These idioms, they function like cultural shorthand. They rely on shared understanding, often drawing on common experiences or really vivid images.
They add color.
Yeah, color and expressiveness that just literal description sometimes can't quite capture. And the sources show them being used naturally and sometimes helpfully being explained explicitly, which is how they spread, isn't it? And how people, especially people learning the language, really get a handle on their meaning.
They really paint pictures. Like feeling like a traffic light or a stop sign in a bright red dress.
Or looking like a coal miner with dust on your nose.
Yeah. These aren't just descriptions, they're comparisons that bring up strong visual ideas based on everyday things.
Yeah.
Adds depth, adds humor.
It just highlights how much meaning is packed into the casual language we use every single day. It's not just the dictionary definition of the words.
No.
It's the layers of cultural context, shared experience, figurative language, All that stuff makes up the richness of everyday English. And understanding these idioms is really key to getting natural conversation.
So looking back then at all these different conversations, tackling problems, navigating relationships, using all this colorful language.
You really see the interconnectedness of it all, don't you?
Yeah.
The common challenges we all face, big and small.
And that fundamental human need for connection, for communication, to actually get through them.
Mm-hmm. And we see the incredible flexibility of our language, our communication styles, how we adapt, almost without thinking, from the professional setting.
To just hanging out with friends.
To a deep emotional crisis, or even just opening a stubborn jar.
Yeah. And we see how language itself, filled with these expressive phrases and idioms, is this amazing dynamic tool. It helps us solve problems, build relationships, express complex feelings, and share our experiences in ways that are vivid and, well, memorable.
These sources, these little snippets of real talk, they aren't just dialogues. They're really powerful illustrations of human resilience, empathy, connection.
They show us we're definitely not alone when we feel overwhelmed or face setbacks or just need a hand.
Right.
They show us all the different ways we care for each other and communicate effectively, even in the messy, complicated reality of daily life.
And understanding these interactions, sort of analyzing the language being used, it helps you not only feel maybe a bit more connected in your own challenges.
Yeah, less isolated.
But it also gives you practical insights, maybe into improving your own communication and deepening your grasp of everyday English and all its wonderful nuances.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, consider the briefest conversations you have every day, asking for directions, maybe offering a compliment, sharing a small frustration, explaining a phrase. They're just packed with layers of meaning, problem solving, shared experience, human connection. What could you learn? What might it reveal about you, about others, about this incredible tool of language if you just paid a little closer attention to those seemingly small moments?
That's a great thought to leave folks with. Definitely worth pondering.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for diving deep with us today into these fascinating sources. And thanks especially to everyone who stuck with us right to the very end. We really appreciate you spending this time with us.
We do indeed.